What do I deserve, since I am such as that?
And then he answers his own question.
Something good, gentlemen. If I am to say what it ought to be in truth. And further, something good which would be suitable for me. So, this is my estimate of the just penalty according to what I deserve. Free board in the town hall.
Socrates points out that this was the reward usually given to the winners of prizes at the Olympic Games. It must have been as obvious to Socrates as it is to us now that this proposal would not win over his jurors. For them, it was important that he should admit his guilt. At the very least, they wanted to humiliate him. Even when Socrates, at the urging of his friends, adds that he would be willing to... It's certain that Plato rearranged...
With this question, none of these are possibly going to be valid for network management protocols. TFTP is transfer, so we get that out of here. This is Network Plus material. I'm studying. I'm just jumping into it. Fuck it. ICMP, we know what that is. That's a ping protocol. SNMP is the only answer that's possible. It's the rationale behind that question. Okay, so... and that's obvious. This is also obvious because most of your enterprise networks are not going to enable ICMP. In fact, you have to enable those between given devices to use that as network discovery. Otherwise, you're going to have to use Nmap or RIPv2 to RIPv2. RIP is for maybe ferreting out your broadcast domains. Best I can understand the concept. Paul Strathern sucks. Let's go with Heston. St. Augustine really was afraid of pussy. I don't know what his problem was.
Far off that he almost completely forgot the home he'd come from. Eventually, though, the prodigal... We've examined...
This already...
It was forbidden, for example, to...
IT's too boring to do by itself, guys, come on.
Logotherapy in a nutshell. This part, which has been revised...
Alright, Dalai fucking mama.
Shrines and offerings. What is the purpose?
Alright, let's go with everything. Sugar.
Sense of urgency and desperation. Part 2. Organizational team.
Never listen to this guy. Graham Hancock's an idiot.
You may have brilliant ideas. You may be able to invent unbeatable strategies.
Right.
But if the group that you lead and that you depend on to execute your plans is unresponsive and uncreative, and if its members always put their personal agendas first, your ideas will mean nothing. You must learn the lesson of war. It is the structure of the army, the chain of command, and the relationship of the parts to the whole that will give your strategies force. The primary goal in war is to build speed and mobility into the very structure of your army. That means having a single authority on top, avoiding the hesitancy and confusion of divided leadership. It means giving soldiers a sense of the overall goal to be accomplished and the latitude to take action to meet that goal. Instead of reacting like automatons, they are able to respond to events in the field. Finally, it means motivating soldiers, creating an overall esprit de corps that gives them irresistible momentum. With forces organized in this manner, a general can adapt.
Okay, so this question here, ER's extended range. So this one is actually like kind of obvious, because otherwise this is one of those things where you would just Google it. I mean, you kind of memorizing cable length. I know a lot of incredibly stupid networking people who don't really know all of this. So this next one requires you to know what a network intrusion protection system is versus a network intrusion detection system is. NIPS versus NIDS. The NIPS is going to prevent. Okay, that's what we have it there for. The rest of these are invalid. Okay, just not valid answers. So this one, literally, that's how that works. The IP gateways sending it to another another public IP address, at which point it goes through the reverse process. That's the easy part of NAT, network address translation. Okay, so this requires you to know that it's this particular range. This is what SIP does on a VoIP network, according to the Network Plus, according to this. This just requires you to know what NS lookup is, okay? Like NS lookup, a given address will discover for you what that domain is. It'll pull the IP address for you. That's what I was looking for. What you're following allows a protocol analyzer on your network's backbone switch to manage your traffic. I mean, the only one here is this. Looping, trunking has nothing to do with it. Spanning tree protocol, caching, nothing. Port mirroring is, of course, exactly that process. Okay. This is a weird one, but yeah, it's called an agent. Agent operates on a router, I guess. This isn't as weird as normal they would phrase the question, or they're gonna put a NAC in there or something like that to confuse you. Okay. Kerberos is an SSO. Okay, that's not this. IPsec is not. None of these are. That's a challenge handshake authentication protocol. Alright, so I'm just studying for the Network Plus, guys. That's all I'm doing. About to plug this bitch in, and hope I get close to a passing score on Saturday. If I don't, you'll be seeing more networking material from me in the future, as well as I will retake the test probably next year. Because after this, regardless of what happens, I'm moving on to the AWS to expand my skill set.